What is going on, guys? It is MindShaz here, bringing you guys a brand new series video. Now, I don't exactly know what I'm going to be calling this series, but basically I'm just going to be putting two blasters up against each other, comparing them, talking about their basic stats, and choosing which one I think is better. I think I'm just going to call it Blaster Battles. That is completely the cheesiest route I could have gone with, but I think it's the best name and quite fitting for my channel. So, basically, that's it. We're going to be comparing two blasters in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Both blasters are from the Assault class, and I plan on making this a series comparing blasters in Star Wars with all the classes: Heavy, Officer, Assault, and maybe Specialist, but I suck at that class, so we're going to start with the first three. I want to begin with the CR-2 versus the EL-16HFE. In the gameplay, I'm using my preferred mods and the ones I think fit the best for the highest chances of peak performance with that weapon. Because when you are using that weapon, eventually you're going to unlock these modifications and use them instead of just using the weapon without mods, because that would be silly. I will quickly be going over the simple statistics of these blasters, the best mods for both weapons, giving my tips and my best ways to use it. However, this is in no way a full-length guide for each weapon. It is the basics, along with my input and opinions to determine what I feel is the superior blaster of the two. If you guys have any suggestions for future comparisons, let me know, and I hope to improve this series as I go and make it a staple on my channel. I do want to keep this going because I think that voice crack though, I think it'll be a solid series if I can keep improving it and keep making it more entertaining and helpful. So to begin, I'll talk about the CR-2 blaster in the Assault class. In-game, it is described as a small and agile blaster with extreme rate of fire, often wielded by Naboo security forces. It is the third blaster in the Assault class, and you're rewarded with it after 200 defeats are achieved while using Assault. In the gameplay, I was running the CR-2 with only the reduced recoil modification, as I think Ion Shot and Night Vision are both unnecessary unless you are in the certain situations, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. For the basic stats of the gun, I will be using the in-game system of the bar, separated into 10 different blocks. So it's in-game when you're hovering over it, it shows the statistics of the cooling power and stuff. But for reference, here are the stats of the CR-2, and mods do not actually affect this visual. I tested it out. Unless it's a visual glitch, then that would kind of suck. But as far as I'm concerned, these are the base stats. It's got a solid cooling power of 8 out of 10, a below mediocre range at 3 out of 10, max rate of fire at 10 out of 10, and finally low damage at 3 out of 10. Now, obviously, the rate of fire stat on this blaster sticks out because it is the only blaster currently in Battlefront 2 that has a maximum rate of fire. This doesn't make it the best, though, especially since the recent nerf on it a few weeks back. You know, it really came in, and it really put some work to the weapon and made it less overpowered. In my opinion, I don't think it was too overpowered, but it was definitely probably the most used blaster, so the nerf was definitely needed. The only mod I use on the CR-2, like I said earlier, is Reduced Recoil, which is a light stock allowing sustained fire with less recoil. So, basically, you're just going to have a better time with your accuracy, because you aren't going to have as much bounce, which is very necessary, especially with the max rate of fire. The other two mods offered, in my opinion, are somewhat situational, and I don't have the playstyle to match the use of those. Those two mods are Ion Shot, which give increased damage against turrets, vehicles, and shields, along with reduced damage against troopers, special units, and heroes. I don't get into engagements with vehicles, turrets, and shields as often as I do with troopers, reinforcements, and heroes, so it has no use for me because I don't want to be shooting Nerf bullets at the opposing troopers. The final modification offered is Night Vision, which is a digital scope capable of revealing enemy troops even in the darkest of environments. The actual visual of the scope itself, when you aim in, throws me off a bit, and I'm not usually in need of being able to see people in the dark because there's not a lot of situations where I am not being able to see people because it's dark. That has never really happened to me. My personal opinion on this blaster is that it reminds me of a submachine gun type weapon, as it shines bright in close quarters combat and it struggles quite a bit at long ranges. If you've ever tried to use a CR-2 at an A280 range, you definitely know that it's not amazing. However, at medium ranges, it can definitely hold its own, especially when you have reduced recoil on your weapon. Doing your best to get flanks and drawing opponents in is my main strategy to do well with this gun. Running like a chicken with its head cut off could work too if you're playing incompetent players, but stick with baiting people in. You'll be a lot better off from my experience. It's really not a good idea in this game, especially with the time to kill, to completely bum rush the opposing team. It is better, in my opinion, to get the nice 1v1s, the easy close quarters engagements, and you'll be better off, in my opinion. The CR-2 was without a doubt my go-to blaster before its patch came into play, and obviously that is why it received a nerf. It was so overused. I don't think it was super duper overpowered, but it was more powerful than the other assault blasters. Like, you could keep up with the other ones, but the CR-2 was just the cheat code at that point in time. It was well balanced, in my opinion, after the nerf, and it still performs very well based on the player style and how they decide to use it. For my playing, it shines on maps that give you the ability to hide in the shadows and look for easy flanks, but maps with little to no cover make you a deer in headlights while using it. It is awesome for close ranges, formerly my go-to blaster, and overall still a solid choice despite the recent nerf. So that was the CR-2. Moving on, we now have the EL-16HFE, its competitor for this video, and it is described as being steady, sturdy, and built for medium to long range combat distances. The EL-16HFE was the preferred blaster rifle among fighters with the resistance. So this is the fourth and final blaster unlocked within the assault class, and you receive it for getting 400 opponents defeated while using assault. Basic stats for this weapon are now on screen. They're pretty solid across the board. Has an 8 out of 10 cooling power, which is identical to the CR-2, a 7 out of 10 range, which is more than double the CR-2. However, it has a turtle-like rate of fire at 3 out of 10, and finally, it has a very powerful, beastly 8 out of 10 damage. Modification-wise, I used the first two mods, but you can be pretty free with your choice on this weapon because it does offer dual zoom as a final mod, which can be beneficial if you're feeling like sniping people on the assault class. Like I said, I used the reduced recoil mod along with improved range, added on to the range it gives in the basic stats. The short description gives away the main way to use this gun, and obviously that is ranged combat. Should be self-explanatory based on the range and the rate of fire and the damage stat. This is essentially the polar opposite of the CR-2, but you can easily perform the same or better with the EL-16HFE. The range paired with the damage is a deadly combo, and it is really satisfying to get those ranged kills of people who are just completely unaware that you're lurking in the shadows. With the highest range in class currently, it does allow you to play slower and pick people off from afar instead of being in the enemy's face like you have to be with the CR-2. Another good thing about this blaster is that if you are accurate enough, you can easily win close range engagements, even with the abysmal rate of fire. Getting those critical hits on people or those headshots will put you above all in close range engagements, and even though it is a slow rate of fire, it can still outgun somebody. Maybe not a CR-2, but it definitely can outgun some of these close range guns if you are accurate enough. I personally am not really accurate enough usually. Obviously, this shouldn't be your go-to for those situations, but I think it can hold its own at a close range better than the CR-2 can at long ranges. So basically what I said there is I think it's better close range compared to the CR-2 at long range. The CR-2 at long range, you're shooting fruity pebbles at people, let's be honest. It's rough. Without mods, the bounce on this gun is almost unbearable, so getting to the reduced recoil, which is the first mod you unlock, thankfully, is the best thing you can do. But obviously that can be said for the CR-2 as well, so the recoil stats on both these weapons are not comparable because the bounce and patterns are different. The CR-2 is more just a straight up, the EL is more of a bouncy, I don't even know how to explain it. So getting to those mods as fast as you can is the best option, and like I said, thankfully reduced recoil is the first mod you unlock for this weapon. With this weapon, using cover and range to your advantage will be the best way to pick people off with a great range and damage stats that compared with this rifle. Running wild on the map with this gun won't do you well unless you abuse the role, but still, stick in the back and pick people off like you're running the specialist class, and this gun will do you justice. Now, in my opinion, this little blaster battle is a very close call. Even though both of these are polar opposites, they still give me the opportunity to perform well in game. The CR-2 is perfect at close range and will give you the upper hand on those smaller areas of the map. However, am I dumb? The EL-16HFE lacks the ability to dominate at CR-2 ranges. However, it can obliterate people from pretty much anywhere else medium to long ranges. Pre-patch, the CR-2 was amazing. It was pretty darn powerful. That's why it obviously received the nerf. It also has only the ability for reduced recoil and 2 other mods that for me are not very desirable in Ion Shot and Night Vision. Therefore, I'm going to go with the EL-16HFE as a superior blaster in this blaster battle episode, but it is very close. Once you unlock the CR-2, you're in a good position with your assault class, but it makes sense that the final blaster you unlock in the assault class is one of the better blasters in the game. The fact that the CR-2 got a nerf and that it only has 1 mod that is solid for it without changing it too much makes it inferior to the ranged beast known as the EL-16HFE. If you like being in the face of the enemy, the CR-2 is your choice. If you like chilling out, picking people off from afar, go with the EL. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me guys know in the comments below what your favorite blaster is between these two, and what your favorite blaster is in the assault class in general. If you made it this far, comment quesadillas, and also have an amazing day, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, definitely drop a like. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for more Star Wars Battlefront 2 content. Love you guys so much. It's been your boy MindShaz, and peace out.